Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. All right, this is Max Burns as a Democratic strategist. I read every single word of his piece to Dana Goldberg on
we heard
Thursday.
We heard.
And now I'm going to read it to him, though presumably he was there when he wrote it. Good morning, Max Burns.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me and for the kind reading. Not a lot of people get to the end of the article.
It's, you know what? It's like Steffi's book club in here because I assume people don't read, and everything you said was so important, Max. I wanted to make sure. But, you know, I've been saying this, and I know it may seem self-serving because I'm in progressive media, but Max, to your point of your piece, it's not just me. It's this whole disinformation, information, what do we call it, ecosystem that we find ourselves in, that it's, you know, how your piece was called Democrats Are Checked Out After Their Drubbing. Here's how they can re-engage. Just summarize for people, because I'm not going to read it to you, but you just made a lot of great points. Talk a little about your thoughts post-election.
Well, one of the challenges, and I don't think it's that surprising, is the Democrats feel really emotionally worn out by this. They really thought they had this. It was a tough beat. And as a result, we've seen places like MSNBC, CNN, viewership has fallen by 50% in some cases and is still declining. There are now some tweets that people are making that are getting larger viewerships than the entire primetime MSNBC lineup.
Right.
And part of this is Democrats have lost faith in this corporate media that they didn't feel well served by during the election.
Yeah.
And the other side of that is that the conservative media, places like News Nation that are pivoting to the populist right, Fox News, Newsmax, are surging in viewership as Republicans come back in and start to figure out what their talking points are for the Trump administration. So it's a real perfect storm of the actual news is starting to disappear. And what we're getting in place is infotainment propaganda news that riles people up but doesn't inform them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pure disinformation. And as we were saying, it's not like we lost on any actual, we lost on a solid wall of lies, Max, is what I always say. You know, were people really sending their kids to school and they were coming back a different sex, or Haitians were eating your pets, it would be a different story. But, you know, I think it's also that it seems like the mainstream media gets led by the nose by this right-wing ecosphere. Like their point of view becomes a right-wing talking point, right? The way they frame things, in my opinion. What do you think?
It really does. And the fact that they're so effective at this is because they've invested heavily. I mean, Republicans are still really conscious of 2008 and 2012 when Barack Obama really took over social media and Democrats had a huge advantage. They've been building that platform for over a decade now. I mean, there's a reason that the largest YouTube channels out there are all conservative propaganda networks like the Daily Wire, like Newsmax, and Democrats really invested no resources in that same thing.
Max,
you can't find a Democratic voice that's financed as well as any of those people.
Oh, are you speaking my language? This is why I think I may have had a couple of orgasms reading your piece, and also just shouting like I was in church. It was a whole thing. But one of the things you mentioned in your piece is like, Chris, this is like Niagara Falls right to us. Air America.
That's right.
Yeah!
That's
Slowly
right.
I turned. Because it ends up in every piece about why, you know, liberal radio, quote unquote, Max, doesn't work. And, you know, I would take issue as someone that's been doing this successfully for 20 years, as has Randy Rhodes and Tom Hartman and Ed Schultz till he passed. We were just talking about, you know, as radio people, Air America just had a horrible business plan. They spent, you know, millions and millions of dollars in an infrastructure that could not support it. At that time, you know, the famous story is, you know, Al Franken's producer got paid $750,000. You know, so and a lot of the great talent went on to do great things. You know, Al Franken, great senator, Rachel Maddow, great TV person, but nobody that was running that had ever done radio before. Right. So again, the people that were great radio pros are still doing it. Including me. I was never Air America. Ed Schultz and I were Jones Radio Network. But anyway, your point is well taken. You just said if Democrats want to persuade investors to back left of center media networks, they'll first need to show their own support by financing those operations internally. That means redirecting the flood of DNC cash currently feeding the Beltway consultant class and making real investments in media talent. And you say a strong bench of lefty influencers would do wonders for Democrats' ability to set the media agenda. I mean, Max, that's been my whole mission in life. Over 20 years, we have supported and showcased and spun off so many amazing progressive talent, media talent, but you're absolutely right. We get virtually no financial support. So I hope this cycle wakes people up. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is so emblematic of what we missed, is that Republicans got together their mega donors in the wake of Obama and said, we need you to help us fund this media. It's going to run at a loss for a while until it builds up. But we need this institutional support. That's how Ben Shapiro got started and now controls the propaganda conversation. And what surprises me is we still haven't learned it. Rob Flaherty, who ran media for Kamala Harris, is in Semaphore today talking about how tough it was that Democrats have, quote, lost the culture. But the Harris campaign didn't invest a dime in progressive media, progressive YouTubers, or any of this infrastructure the way the Trump campaign did. And it bugs me that we talk about this as if we're passive observers when these are the people who had the money to distribute and then didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, our friend Dino Badala, who's one of the many voices that, now has his own show on Sirius XM Progress here with me and John Fugelsang and Michelangelo Signorelli and a host of great progressive talent. But he said while CNN and MSNBC have collapsed, the good news is it doesn't mean the Democratic base has checked out. We're now connecting on places like Threads, Substack, Blue Sky, etc. And caller volume to my Sirius XM show has been breaking records over the past month as people stop watching TV and instead engage more by calling in. We're building a powerful community. And I think that is so critical. And we keep saying, Max, you have to be entertaining. You sort of make that point, whether it's Fox News or some of the conservative, to me, smart and funny is the key. And a lot of the, Bob Seska and, Frangela and Hal Sparks and John Fugelsang, a lot of the people that, obviously we've platformed here are just such amazing, smart, funny, strong, voices. You're right. We just need the infrastructure. We have the talent.
Yeah, and the common thread there is these are all, yourself included, are people who understand media and understand that sometimes getting information across is as much about the show as it is about the process. And that people are not interested in tuning in to listen to their teacher.
Right.
We need to entertain and persuade.
Right.
And we see now that in the lack of that in the corporate news, people are going to Threads, people are going to Blue Sky, and these organic personalities are developing. The problem is they just don't have the money to mainstream.
Yeah.
And that's where the DNC needs to step up.
Yeah, listen, I'm just happy that my headphones have held out for this long in the interview. That's how much of a budget I'm on, Max. Because I don't want to miss a word. And also, you stop writing great pieces. I'm like Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. I can't keep up. The new one is Republicans plan to redefine U.S. citizenship as authoritarianism 101. I mean, this is how critical all this is in a critical time we're in. As you say, Trump's plan to deport estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants. You say even as economists warn his scheme would raise grocery prices for consumers, hobble American businesses. You say his grim promises not only include ending birthright citizenship and deputizing the military to serve as domestic police, but also a nightmare scenario where American citizens are deported from their home country alongside their undocumented family members. The Constitution and longstanding laws, you write, stand in the way of Trump's most absurd and extreme immigration fantasies, or at least they should. That's the critical sentence. Yeah. America's legal institutions may not be as strong a bulwark against the MAGA movement's xenophobia as institutionalists think, especially when so many Republicans are eager to give Trump anything he wants. I mean, Max, that's the key to this. Everything that we think, every guardrail, every norm, we're like, I don't know. Can we say for sure? Is he going to need crimes or evidence to prosecute people in Trump 2.0?
Yeah, I mean, if Donald Trump remembers even half of this when he comes down from the Adderall, we're in trouble because there's not really a structure anymore. I mean, I see all of these well-meaning Senate Democrats saying, well, the courts say you can't deport citizens.
Yeah.
As if the courts have proven to be the most reliable guardian of our liberties lately. They've essentially given the president complete blanket immunity to try whatever he wants. And if he can get it through, all the better. But it doesn't seem like these appointments he's making are people who are especially interested in being quoted the law. They're there to do what Donald Trump wants to do, and they'll do everything they can until the courts say no. And that process will take years.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only, sliver of hope is I think like Mark Elias talking about only what, maybe 75 cases get to the Supreme Court every year. So there's,
Yeah.
Thank God there's still lots of other judges and courts. But I think you're right. It's anyone's guess as to what. And I think Democrats, to your point of your earlier piece, Max, are playing by a set of rules that don't really exist anymore. They're kind of like, well, he can't do that, or well, this will stop him, or whatever. And I don't think we know what kind of unprecedented territory we're in yet, do we?
No, I mean, besides Project 2025, which has seemed to now be the government, 7 people in the administration are nominated who have co-authored major parts of that. So we have a sense of where this is going. And it does seem bizarre to me that the response has essentially been, well, we'll try to meet authoritarianism halfway and we'll put legal challenges up, which is going to work out great for the people who are going to be deported and the years they will spend outside this country illegally waiting for the courts to hear their decisions. But I've always said you cannot tell the American people something is a crisis if our leaders don't behave as if it's a crisis.
I'm here with the incredibly handsome Dr. David Silverman to talk about ASEA Renew that I'm holding in my hand. This stuff is amazing. Revitalizing Redox gel. You hold up, you have you can either, it comes in drink form and this is the gel form. I love, first of all, that supermodel Carol Alt will be promoting this. She's taken so many jobs from me, so I am so happy.
Just to give some context, because I have to tell you that this is very unique. This is not, it's not a pharmaceutical, it's not a nutritional product. It's something that our cells make. It's called redox signaling molecules. But bottom line is, our cells make redox signaling molecules. Your body makes it right now, but we all made more of it when we were younger. What's in this bottle is in you, it's in me, right? But I'll be 64 in 2 weeks and I feel like I'm 30 years old. I've been drinking this for 13 years.
Wow. Doc, what a thrill to meet you and to hear more about this, because, it's you just kind of go, oh, it works, but to hear about the why is really is fascinating to me. Dr. David Silverman, what a joy and a pleasure, and thank you so much.